Hello, SimGamerJen here. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for coming along. I've got another mod showcase for you for one of my mods. This time I am doing CropControlOverride. The idea of this mod is that you can start a new save and you can specify any crops you want disabled for that save. So as most of my mods are, they're more for sort of content creation if you want to set a map, or if you want to play a game on your own but you want some form of realism where the crops available to you or available on the map or that are grown on the map by AI match the sort of regional crops that would be grown wherever your map might be based. So I have a map set in Montana, so I've disabled crops that aren't suited to that environment. So things like cotton, sugarcane, rice, all those kind of things are disabled for that map. And you can do that with this mod for your save as well. So you can add custom crops to it as well. So if you've got custom crops in the map, you can just update the relevant file that comes with the save game, or it doesn't come with it. You can just create it, and the README gives you an indication as to what to do. Or have I not put that in there? No, I haven't put that in there. I'll have to add that in. There's not much to it. I should have a demo one here. No, I don't want to do that. So let's get rid of that one. No, we don't want that, and no, we don't want that. Do I have one? No, I don't have one. Let me whiz to it. So what happens is, what the mod does is when you fire up the game with the mod active and you start a new save, it will use a config.xml if one exists, and it will then write a save game specific XML file. So they sit in the My Games Farming Simulator 2025, wherever you might have that located, or if you've changed it to wherever it is. This is where this sort of dynamic folder where all the save games go, your log file goes, etc. So in here is the mod settings, and lots of mods put things in here, so effectively you can customize them without needing to unzip the mod and make changes to the actual mod itself. So we have CropControlOverride, and in here we have a config XML. I'll put a copy of this up on the GitHub to download, so it won't be part of the zip, because otherwise you'd have to unzip the zip to get to it. So I'll just put it there as something you can download from GitHub. So in here, this is just the base game crops, and as you can see, I've set some of them to be disabled, and we'll see what happens. I'll run the game with that active, and I will just get a save game active. I need to delete that one. We'll just look at that one there. So here we can see again that I've got some custom crops in this one enabled, and then I've got a lot of crops disabled in that one. Okay, so let's switch to the game, and we'll start a new game. We'll start there with that empty slot there. I'll just start on Riverbend Springs, new farmer mode. It doesn't really make much difference, and it is here, CropControlOverride. So let's get into the game. Okay, right, we're ready to go. That HUD overlay there is from my precision nutrition mod, and then I've also got the helper profiles mod as well, with 5 active helpers ready. Therefore, I've got a video out for my helper profiles. I haven't done anything for precision nutrition yet, it's in alpha, but let's concentrate on what we're doing here. Okay, so now we can see the map. Okay, so I've got those are just turned off because I don't use those in my Judith planes Jen's Ranch series, so I just kind of turn them off anyway. But and it's not per save, it's just once you turn them off, that's it. For every time you load a save, they'll be off until you turn them back on again. But what we can see is we don't have any spuds. There isn't any rice. So we don't have any of these crops. No spinach. We should, I believe, have green beans yet, because I've enabled that one. So if I bring that config back, I don't know if I will be able to get them both on screen at the same time. I might be able to. Let's see what I can do. Can I do that? Yeah, I think I can actually. Bear with me. So let's do that and that. No, it won't. It won't let me. No, okay. It won't let me do it. But you can see that I'll put this here so we can see that green bean was enabled, but potato, rice, etc., cotton, grape, poplar, beetroot, spinach were all turned off. Oh no, you can't see it. There you go. Sorry, I'm using this OBS Studio, the studio mode. I don't normally use it, so I always forget to keep transitioning from one to another. So there, as I said, you can see that most of the crops were disabled, apart from green bean, which I enabled, and that is exactly how this map is laid out. So none of those crops exist on the field at all. And we can go into some of these fields here just to see what they are like. This one's just ploughed, ready. It's not really doing anything, so it's not like it's broken. This one looks like it's been cultivated or ready for planting. There's nothing in it. Go back to that one a minute, because I think it should tell us. Oh no, it doesn't tell us what's going on there. Yeah, and if we switch back to here and we get back into here, so we should now see that we have a save game 9 XML as well, and that, because we used that config, it's basically just copied it. It's kind of written it in a slightly different way. It's not quite as neatly formatted, but it has effectively done it in exactly the same way that it was. So it's just a copy, and then you could tweak that if you wanted to, but obviously it's not necessarily going to change anything that's on the field already. But it would basically mean that AI farmers effectively could start to seed with those if you re-enable a crop. And if you disable a crop in the save game XML, it will stop the AI being able to use that crop. So when fields, the life cycle of a field goes through and it's ready for seeding, and AI decides what it's going to do with fields that are ready as you progress through the game, turning it on or off here will then affect how that crop is used in future games. That's all you can do with that. You can't really do anything else with that. There's not really any other way of doing anything with it. So it might be something I look to do, which is to kind of reset the fields. So if you change this to reset the fields, but that's quite a complicated one because it depends what time of year you are, etc., what the season is, as to what crops need to come out. So I'm not sure if that's even feasible to do. So in the way that we'd be kind of using it in this mod, but at the moment this is just really for starting a new save game, but it gives you a little bit of control over what's available at the start of that. So for example, if you were to add custom crops later, you could simply add them to your save game XML for that particular save game, and the AI could then start to use them when it's next doing something to a field, you know, resowing a field, because it's been harvested, cultivated, whatever, ploughed, whatever done, whatever's been done to it, and the AI is going through through its business of setting fields up, etc., that aren't owned by a farmer. And likewise, the other thing is, even though they're disabled for AI, you could potentially use them, because it doesn't necessarily disable them from let's have a look at tools. So if we go down here to, we'll just pick a cedar, you can see that they are oh no, they are, it has, oh no, it has done it. Oh, okay, that's interesting, because it looks like it's potentially fixed something that was problematic, because they were just coming up there and it was doing my head in. So it seems that I've actually managed to get that fixed. So yeah, we don't have, unless I've not picked something. Let's pick a planter and just see what we get there. Oh no, okay, so we have got it there, cotton and sugar beet. But we didn't have carrots, did we? Or potatoes. We got, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because they've not got any. Okay, so it's kind of worked there, but it hasn't worked with the planters. Because what have we got there? Sorry, so yeah, it's just those two, because everything else is active, I think. Well, do you know what? I just realised I've got sunflowers in that config. I knew there was one I'd missed, but yeah, so sugar beet and cotton are the only two that appear there. So that's a bit weird, that one, is that they are still there, but everything else has disappeared. Sunflowers are there because I haven't done any controls over those, so they are going to be active because I forgot to add them to my config XML. Wow, I knew there was one missing. Anyway, we digress. So that's pretty much how the mod works. I will add sunflower to it and get that config XML uploaded so that you've got a template that you can work with. So yeah, you pop that there and it reads it in straight away and it applies it straight away as it's creating your save game. That's how it works. So yeah, that's the mod pretty much. So I have just released one for set days per month, which is a Python script which you can use to effectively create a new save and then immediately go in and change the number of days so that it's active for August. So if you want to have 5 days per month, you can have 5 days in August, which you wouldn't normally do if you did it through the game. I've also got that, as I said, that helper profiles, which allows you to have custom workers. It does involve editing a base game XML file. Unfortunately, there's no way around that, certainly that I can figure out at the moment. But it gives you the ability to just customize your avatars and have static workers, so that you set worker, as I had in mine here, you set Riley off and Riley will always be Riley, it's always the same person. And then if you decided to put Rick, you would always get Rick. If you set Rick to be the active worker, so you can guarantee who the worker is going to be. So again, if you're doing content creation and you're doing cinematics, you can take your cinematics with the worker in there if you've got a number of workers working as part of your storyline, etc. So that's that one. And precision nutrition is in alpha, but it is, the idea is that it takes nutritional value from food and applies that so that each type of food you provide, each crop, so any grain crop or silage or hay, grass, TMR, each have their own unique nutritional attributes. And again, grain crops are different, so barley and oats and wheat have different nutritional ratings for protein and energy, etc. And the idea is there that it will take that and it will use that to ascertain the nutritional value of what you're feeding, which will then affect development, growth, so weight, effectively, which in some cases, depending on what you're doing with your livestock, for example, if you're doing beef farming, then obviously weight is quite important. You want to bulk up your heifers or your steers for selling off for meat or something. So that's the idea behind it. So at the moment it's kind of very basic. It does work, but it can't necessarily determine, certainly if you're doing forage in a mixer, it doesn't know what ingredients are in the forage, it just does it as forage. So that's a bit that I've got to work on. But silage, hay, grass, TMR and forage each have unique values. So it does have a limited capability of altering the nutritional value depending on what you put in the trough. It also has the ability to support pastures as well, because most placeables don't necessarily have pasture applied, whereas if you put the open pastures that are available, or even the fenceless pasture, they do often come with, you can switch pastures on, so they will have a value which will allow the animals to eat, but it doesn't go towards making sure they don't starve to death. That's the crazy thing about it. So they will still starve if you don't put food in the trough. So what this mod does is actually allow for support grazing as well, and it uses that as part of a nutrition. But then you need to update the trough with food, because if it will run out, and when you've got food in the trough, the pasture will kind of replenish its nutritional value as the grass kind of grows and refreshes. So it's good for realism if you want to just sort of take your livestock during the summer, stick them in a pasture, let them graze the nice lush grass, and then move them somewhere else at the end of summer, and then the grazing will replenish itself. So that's kind of how that works. So if you want to test that out, play around with that, by all means do. It's on the GitHub, and just sort of feedback through GitHub if you get any issues. But as for CropControlOverride, that was it. So I appreciate you watching the video. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, or your night, whatever it might be where you are. I would kindly ask you to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. I am now targeting that magic 500, although I have very low watch hours. Fortunately, I'm getting lots of subscribers, but people aren't necessarily watching the videos. So I'm only a third of the way through for watch hours, but almost all the way through for that magic 500. Not that it really gives me too much anyway, but that I could possibly make use of, because I don't necessarily live stream, so maybe I'll need to start doing that. But yes, so thank you very much, and I hope to catch you on a future video. Take care everybody, thank you and goodbye.